What do most young people get wrong about success or happiness?
Hey guys, I just wanted to introduce who I'm interviewing today and kind of why. So if you want to skip this part and go straight to the interview, you can, but if you want to find out who it is, you can go ahead and stay. It's not going to be too long. But this is my Uncle Steve, and he went to Princeton and swam and played basketball for them while going to law school. So I thought that was pretty sick. I mean, I barely can go to school. I barely can keep up with school, and he went to Princeton and did that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude's sick. Eventually became a lawyer and started and owned a firm. So he did pretty good, and he lives in a great place in Arizona. He's got a great wife. He's got grandchildren. He's met Muhammad Ali. He's got detained and arrested in Russia. He's swam against Olympic people, like a person who won the Olympics apparently. Like, this man has lived a life. He's lived a crazy life. So I just wanted to interview him, and I just have such a tremendous amount of respect for him, as you see why. He's just such a great guy, and I hope you enjoy. I also wanted to apologize. It's not focused, okay? So his face is blurry, but the story matters, okay? Not the face. So I'm sorry about that. Also, I didn't connect the mics right. I'm using it now and I got it connected, but I didn't connect the mics right. But you still can hear him. So as long as you can hear these questions, which you can, I made sure you can, you still can get what I wanted you to get out of the interview.
What's the biggest internal battle you fought that no one ever saw?
Well, you ask the question as if it's in the past tense, but it isn't. It's the same battle I still have that I've had for much of my life, and that's the battle over what I want versus what is right. It's a question of selfishness. So I always want what I want. So that's a battle. The question should be, is it what I want that really matters, or is it what I should do that really matters? And so it's a desire to get my own way on my own terms, and that's a battle I continuously fight.
What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Actually, that's probably the easiest question you've asked, because I think it's, I once had to give a commencement address to a graduating class of high school students, and I told them that with the educational experience that they got, they needed to apply it to answer the existential question of, why do I exist and what's my purpose? Because if you're like most of the people in the world who think there is some kind of afterlife, you need to figure out what that is, because in most major religions, the afterlife depends on how you lived your life here on earth. So you need to give some consideration to how you're going to live your life. And in fact, you need to address the more fundamental question of, what is the main purpose of man? Why do we exist at all? And if you're a person of faith like I am, you understand that the main purpose of man is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. And if you can come to a conclusion about, this is who I am, this is why I exist, you have a real purpose in life, which then will influence how you live the rest of your life and prepare you for what will happen after you die your human existence.
What's a dream that you had that didn't come true, and how did that shape you?
Yeah, you gave me a heads up on that question, so I had to spend some time thinking about it. I don't know that I had that many dreams of grandeur or anything else, but the one that does come to mind is when I changed jobs from being a lawyer to going to work for one of my clients as an executive, senior executive, on a track to potentially become the CEO of a very large company. And the decision the board had to make was between me and the other senior executive officer, and I did not get the position, so I did not become the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. And so that didn't come true, and I was disappointed. But upon reflection, if you're one of these folks like I am that believe that God causes or allows all things to happen, which I do believe, and that just meant God didn't mean that for me. And in many regards, since that time, my wife has said, "I'm so glad you didn't get that position. You had much more opportunity to be involved in other activities that are of higher value." And so I guess that's my answer. I didn't get something I wanted, but that was probably good.
If your younger self saw the life you built, what would surprise him the most?
I guess my immediate first reaction would be nothing. I don't think I'd be particularly surprised. But then if I had to give you an answer beside nothing, I think the first response would be that I'd be surprised I had all these grandkids and how much that meant to me and how much I've enjoyed spending time with them. And then I guess the other thing that would surprise me is that I became a person of faith. I was not a believer. I had no particular religious affiliation when I was younger. So I think it would really surprise me to see how much my life is dictated by my faith.
What do most young people get wrong about success or happiness?
Well, you ought to answer that question. But looking back, looking at the grandkids and people of, when you say young, I think of people under 30. They seem to think that their careers, fame, and money will be the ultimate source of their happiness. And I think I think they'll quickly find out that money in and of itself isn't going to give it to you. That success in the business world isn't going to ultimately satisfy you. So I think they have to determine what is actually the higher standard by which you should judge success or happiness. And I just think most people look at the wrong things. When I was that age, and I thought about what did we all think about, it was all about the guy with the most toys wins. And it was an accumulation of either money or status or physical things. And in the end, as you get older, you realize that isn't going to give you the type of lasting happiness that really should fill our hearts.
What was Princeton like, and what moment there shaped you the most?
I think what really surprised me about Princeton and shaped me the most is I was very good academically, or I wouldn't have been selected to go there. But then I got there, I realized virtually everybody else in my class was a valedictorian like I was, or was a captain of a sports team, or had some other considerable achievement. So it was sort of like being surrounded by greatness. And the other thing that struck me about it on reflection was I went there for the wrong reason. I went there because I wanted to be close to my girlfriend, who was then going to Georgetown. And so that was the school that was closest to it. That was a really good school. And then she dumped me after 2 weeks. So those are my memories of Princeton.
Was there a decision that genuinely scared you and ended up being one of the best things you ever did?
Yeah, that's an easy one. It was marrying my wife. I delayed that for a long time. I dated her for a while. I'd been married once before, and that didn't end well, and so here I was with a lovely lady that I loved very much, but I was afraid to get married again. but I finally did it, and it was the best decision, best thing I ever did.
If you could relive one single day of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, you gave me that question in advance, and that's about the only one I can't come up with a really good answer to. If by reliving it you mean it was so bad that you want to change how it turned out, that'd be one way of looking at it. If it was just, it was so unbelievably good that you want to experience it again. I had lots of days like that, you know, with my wife, with my kids. I've had so many good experiences that I can't name one that was just so spectacular that it stands out. I've just been so blessed in other ways. If you're saying, what did you really screw up that you could go back and change, then that's a slightly different question. Because as you know, I was married once before, and before I married Ann, and that didn't turn out well. And if I had to relive it, if I had the chance to go back and handle that whole situation differently, I probably would, but then I may not have ended up with a divorce and the opportunity to marry Ann. So that's a tough question.
Awesome.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview. I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts, overall reaction, and what I took from it, and what I hope you guys took from the interview. Obviously, Steve's a great man. I love him to death. He's a great guy. But so what I took was faith. You know, faith plays a huge part in his life. I don't know how you guys are with faith. I don't know. Everybody varies. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. But I love how he lives his life by faith. You know, it's so cool. It gives him meaning. His girlfriend dumping him before when he went to Princeton, I thought that was pretty funny. But what I really took from it was what I want versus what is right. That question where he said that, what do I want versus what is right? I think that is a great way to live your life, you know. Everybody wants something. I want a gajillion things, you know. You probably want a gajillion things, but what is right, you know? Is it right, you know? You gotta be selfless, you know, and that's what he is. He's selfless, which I love that from him, man. And also I took important things. The money, wealth, your career, your status doesn't define you, doesn't create your happiness. Take it from him. I mean, he has all of that, you know. He has all of that. But what really comes down to is family, his wife, his grandkids, just how you live your life, you know, having purpose, which I love that, man. I love that, and I love it. And then the question where I said, what could you tell your 20-year-old self? This is what I loved. Who am I and why do I exist? I mean, that is such a hard question to answer. That is so hard. That's what I'm going through right now. I'm 20, and I'm sure everybody's going through that question. Who am I and why do I exist? You know, what is special about me that I can contribute to this world to make the world a better place? You know, what is my purpose? What are my special abilities that I can give to others? And that's what I'm trying to find out right now. That's what he said he would give to his younger self, and that's what I hope all of you guys are finding out. Once again, I'm sorry. I know the interview is not the best, you know, the quality and everything, but we're only going to get better. We're only going to keep asking better questions and keep going. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you like and subscribe, that'd be pretty awesome. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, so appreciate it.